Clayton Kershaw was going to join us in about 15 minutes from now, but he just called in. And I did you guys see the picture where he was involved in a fender bender? And Clayton joins us now. Are you okay?
I'm okay. Thanks for asking.
Okay, because I saw the picture, and then I realized those were Angel fans who got into the fender bender with you?
Yes. They were quick to point that out. So that was made the wreck even better. It was great.
Okay, but you have a smile on your face at least. You get out, somebody rear ends you, right? And then you get out, and then how do you end up taking a picture with these fans?
Okay, anytime, wrecks are scary, especially, we were almost on a highway, so able to get the cars out of the way, make sure everybody's okay, and then after that, the cars were beat up a little bit, but, not the end of the world. It's okay.
And then you say, of course, let's take a picture.
Well, yeah, it wasn't my idea, obviously, but yeah, I said, okay, I'll do that. Yeah.
What'd you do interesting in the off season?
Well, I just heard you talking about Cuba. I got to go down there. I went down there with a few baseball guys. It was almost kind of like a first trip before this baseball game yesterday. So I got to go down there with a few different guys and check it all out, which was pretty awesome.
Could you see a major league franchise there a decade from now?
That's such a hard question. I don't know. As far as just passion for the game and having people come to the games and being a moneymaker, without question. The fans, the Cuban people down there, they love baseball, maybe more than I've seen in any country. And I've gotten to go to the Dominican and obviously here. It's just an incredible atmosphere down there. But a lot of hoops to jump through before that happens.
Yeah, sure. The infrastructure is a mess. You got to get rid of the government there. Yeah. But to have that passion and 11 million people rooting for one team would be crazy. The atmosphere there would be crazy. We also
it would be crazy for sure.
The commissioner was talking about balls and strikes, and he says he's not opposed to like a computerized system. He said that we don't have the technology now. As a pitcher, how would you feel about a computerized strike zone?
Well, so I guess you'd have to define the strike zone a little bit better because obviously side to side, the home plate's the strike zone. If it's off the plate, it's not a strike. But up and down, there's so much. Every height is different on the players. Are you going to have a different strike zone depending on the height? Is it really the letters to the knees? Because if that's the case, if you're having a guy throw a ball at a guy's letters and calling it a strike, they're going to be a lot more upset than they are calling 2 inches outside. So a lot of hoops to jump through there too, and I don't see that happening anytime soon.
But if I took a vote among pitchers and I said you could have a computerized strike zone where you knew exactly what it was and it never fluctuated, would you? Or you could have the current system?
I would go current system for me. I like having a human back there calling balls and strikes. I think if you polled hitters, though, I think hitters would probably go towards the computerized system.
Really?
I just think I think they're a little more. I think they get a little more upset about the strike zone than pitchers do. Hitting's hard to do. It's the hardest thing to do in sports. So if they had a rigid system where they just knew exactly what a ball and strike was and they didn't have to worry about getting screwed ever, I think they'd like that a little bit.
But how? And I don't know if it's frustrating or not. If I tell you who the umpire is, you know their strike zone for the most part.
Some guys, one way or the other, but the really good ones are the ones that you just don't even know their name. You know their name, but you just don't even notice the difference because they're so good back there. It doesn't make a difference.
How many times have you been tossed from a game?
That's a good question. I think I've been tossed, 3 times. Yeah. One from the dugout, though, so that's not pitching. One time from the dugout.
Okay, did you feel proud that you got tossed from the dugout?
A little blindsided, but yeah, after I felt a little proud for sure.
But okay, so you've been tossed twice from the mound?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Is it how you say something or what you say that got you run?
Well, both of these were a pitch accidentally got away from me and hit a batter, and the umpires ruled it on purpose. So it wasn't so much arguing balls and strikes. I don't think I've ever been tossed for arguing balls and strikes on the field.
So one of the greatest control pitchers in the history of baseball accidentally had 2 pitches get away from him.
Yeah, it happens. There's so many things. There's just so many things that go on in a game. Some do. I think so. It gets a little wet in LA at night, the moisture sometimes. So just a lot of things, Dan. It's hard to explain.
I understand that. I understand it. Moisture.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on bat flipping? Let's say it's not a walk-off and somebody bat flips. Your reaction is?
Yeah, I saw that Bryce Harper article the other day, and I know it's I saw David Ortiz talking about it too. And, the way I think about it is if I ever had a son, who would I want him to watch play the game? That's how I think about it. And for me, I'd want him to watch Mike Trout. I want him to watch Paul Goldschmidt. I want him to watch Andrew McCutchen. These guys are just, I know it's cliche, but just the way they play the game. I would want my son to learn from that. And so I think that's probably the best way for me to answer it. But, if I had a son, I'd want him to watch those three guys, to name a few. Those guys I have a lot of respect for.
But what bothers you about Bryce Harper?
Nothing necessarily bothers me about him. If I had to pick guys, I would pick guys that lean more towards the way that those three play.
What if your son said, Dad, I love Bryce Harper?
I would say he's an incredible player. And that's
and then you would show him Mike Trout highlights?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then you'd put him to sleep, probably.
I have a lot of respect for the way Bryce plays. He plays hard. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the things he said in that article. I don't think baseball needs flair. I think if you're good enough, you just play the game. And that's how you get respect. You just play the game really, really well. And, I think he's talking about making the game a little less boring. Well, I think when those three guys play the game that I just mentioned, that's not very boring to watch. I think that's pretty exciting. So that's kind of where I stand on all that.
He's Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers pitcher, joining us. Dan Patrick Show. Any problems with kids in the locker room, the clubhouse?
Yeah, that was a weird thing, wasn't it? I know Adam a little bit, and Andy, his brother, played with the Dodgers, so I know them personally a little bit, and it's just such a crazy thing. We must not be hearing the whole story on both sides or something, but no, I don't have a problem with kids in the clubhouse. I think it probably depends on the kid more than anything, and it sounds to me like Drake was a really well-respected kid and, did all the right things and, minded his own business when he needed to, and guys really loved him. So, unfortunately, it's probably a kid-to-kid basis, but every kid that I've ever had in the clubhouse or comes in the clubhouse, I've had no problem with. Get a chance to say goodbye to Don Mattingly? I texted Donnie. Yeah, we miss him over here. I love him to death. But, I hope we beat him pretty good when we play Miami. And, Doc's been great over here, Dave Roberts. Different atmosphere over here. It's definitely different. Whole new coaching staff. Felt like we needed name tags that first week of spring training. But it's been a lot of fun for sure. Okay, Mattingly made a bet with me. Mattingly says he will not get tossed the entire season. Yeah, okay. I would take the under on that. I would take the over on that one for sure. Okay. I said May 30th over-under before he gets tossed. So around 40 games. What do you think of that bet? Yeah, I think you win that. It takes one player to get tossed by the umpire, and then Donnie's going to have to go protect his player, and he's going to get tossed. There's no way he's not going to get tossed. There's just no way. And he's such a mild-mannered guy, but then the way he plays, he's so competitive that people don't, he can separate the two, but yeah, you're right. He's going to be jumping on that. Somebody's going to get an earful there. Yeah. He's going to flip the switch for sure. How far are my Dodgers going this year? Well, Dan, if I knew that, we wouldn't even play the season. But I think our team, where we're at, we got a good chance. I think a lot of teams in our division got better for sure. But would you tell me if you had a no chance or a bad chance? Would you be honest and tell me, say, we have really no chance this year? No, I probably wouldn't tell you that. Right, probably wouldn't sound good. But, yeah, I do think we got a good team, obviously. We basically have the same team last year. We lost Zach, obviously, which is a bummer. But we got a few guys coming in with Kazmir and Maeda. Maeda's really good. You guys are going to be really impressed with him. He's got really good stuff. And, knows how to pitch. He reminds me a lot of Hiroki Kuroda, who he had for a few years in L.A. and then was with the Yankees for a while.
Yeah.
Very similar guy. Played on the same team in Hiroshima, and they pitched very similarly.
Before I let you go, have you cheered up your childhood pal Matthew Stafford after losing Calvin Johnson?
I haven't yet.
What kind of friend
Matthew
are you?
Reached out for any consolation. I know. I'm bad. I know.
He lost Megatron.
I know. Can you believe he retired? I can't believe that. That's amazing to me. But it wasn't like he was slowing down at all.
At age 31, he retired.
Yeah, I know. Football's tough. I mean, I get that. Football is just it's a beating every Sunday. It's just a beat down. So I understand that part of it for sure.
Did you play?
Yeah, through freshman year. I wasn't very good, and I was a lineman, so I quit pretty quickly. But I enjoyed it.
You were a lineman?
Yeah, I was pretty short and fat growing up, man, and so I was relegated to lineman duty.
Isn't that usually where they put the fat guy at catcher growing up?
Yeah. You got to at least be able to have hands as a catcher, though. As a lineman, it's just like, well, we don't have anywhere for you, but we think you're big enough to play line, so go over there and play.
Hey, great to catch up with you. Have fun this season, and hopefully we'll talk down the road.
All right. Thanks, man.
That's Clayton Kershaw, Dodgers pitcher.